Okay, so we move on to the final round, a rematch of the first 8 o'clock spot game. It's Devin Nettles, it's Barry Grant Jr. Devin looking for his first single game title, and Barry looking for two out of the first three to start this brand new game show. And I have a feeling this is going to be a fun one because we got two Lakers fans, and I'm a Warriors fan. So I'm going to be very, very interested to see your takes on this particular subject.
It's already rigged, man. It's already rigged.
Somebody's got to win. Somebody's got to win, right? Let's see what happens. Going to the final round here. Before we get into the topic, here are the rules. It's all or nothing, folks. Final round. If you win, you get 10,000 points, which could really boost your overall standings in terms of whether or not you can, potentially win the whole thing once we get to the end of the season. The loser, you come home empty-handed. It's think of it as fast money in Family Feud. It's kind of similar to it in that regard. And our final topic is one that has been discussed throughout most, if not all, of the NBA media, because we are kind of an NBA dead space right now, and so we're looking for any discussion we can. Gilbert Arenas had Steph Curry on his show recently, and he asked him point blank, "Are you the greatest point guard of all time?" And Steph Curry said straight up, yes. And then he went on for the next minute and a half to praise Magic Johnson, to talk about how it's an honor to even be in that conversation, yada, yada, yada. Before I even ask anybody their opinions, I love the fact that I'm glad there wasn't like a false humility by Steph. Like, well, it's subject. No, I'm glad he put himself out there. Magic would do the same. Most great players would do the same. So I appreciate that from Mr. Curry. But I'll start here with Devin in this final round, looking for his first title. Point blank. Who's the greatest point guard of all time, Steph Curry or Magic Johnson? And is it a legitimate debate?
It's a legitimate debate. You know what I mean? I'm most definitely going to put there. There's no disrespect to Magic Johnson or Steph Curry. I feel like both of them has changed the game. They both had elevated the position. But I might have to ride with Steph. I feel like Steph, because Steph can get two faults of being the greatest point guard. He can get one because he was the guy that elevated the game and changed the game in a bad way. Because now people is coming down on fast break, shooting threes. Everybody wants to be like Steph when it comes to that regard. Also, Steph, also became he's the guy that came out the mud, in my opinion. He was the guy that really didn't go to a high level college. He went to Davidson. Nobody really slept on a lot of people slept on him. So when he did get into the pros, he had a lot of injuries that slowed him down in the beginning. A lot of people didn't feel like Steph Curry was even going to make it this far in his career. They thought that he was too fragile, was too small. And he just wasn't that guy. Steph just came and elevated each year and got better and better. He checked off every box that everybody had questions about him, whether he should have been Finals MVP when KD was there, whether is he even in the conversation with Magic Johnson. And it's crazy that he's not even in the same comparison as Magic Johnson as a style of point guard, because we all thought that, well, how come the point guard, Chris Paul, is not in this conversation? So for Steph to actually blow out Chris Paul in this conversation and to be mentioned with Magic Johnson, I think that, it deserves a nod. But I give it to Steph because you can give the Steph good bad when it comes to him changing the point guard position.
That's interesting, and something I talked about that I think big thing that people are missing, and I talked about this yesterday on my show, is the fact that we talk about, hey, is Steph you really a pure point, like you mentioned, like a Chris Paul or John Stockton or somebody? People forget Magic Johnson was primarily a point guard, but he played shooting guard a lot of the first part of his career in LA with the Lakers. When he was there with a prime Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, he played a little bit of power forward from time to time, so he was a very versatile player. Again, I always talk about in the whole GOAT debate, we talk about Jordan and LeBron. The closest thing to Jordan is Kobe. The closest thing to LeBron is Magic Johnson. So stylistically, those are the closest two things we've seen. As far as Steph, with the possible exception of Mahmoud Abdul-Rauf, we really haven't seen anything close to him in terms of a playing style. So it's a very interesting conversation to have from a stylistic standpoint. I'll go to you, Barry. Who do you think is the greatest point guard ever? And do you think it is a legitimate debate?
I don't think it's a legitimate debate. And that's no disrespect to Steph Curry. I think what did people want Steph Curry to say when he was asked the question? Every player is always going to say that they're the best, because that's how you view yourself. That's how you're going to be able to elevate yourself when you're playing basketball, when you're playing any type of sport. You need to know that you are the best. Even if you're not, you got to feel that way. So the reason why I say it's not a legit debate, and it's not any shade to Steph, right? You have people say that Jordan is the best player of all time. Second, that's no shade to anybody else. It's the fact that he's just the greatest. The thing is with Magic Johnson, if we're going to make the case for Magic, and I'm making the case for Magic, is that he literally saved basketball. He saved the NBA. If it wasn't for Magic Johnson and Larry Bird and that rivalry of Celtics Lakers in the 80s, there would be no Steph Curry right now. So for that reason, this is why I can respect Steph. He's definitely in somewhere in my top 5 in regards to point guards of all time. If you want to put him second, if people want to put him wherever you want to put him, that's fine. But for me, all the intangibles and everything that came with Magic Johnson, the number 1 overall pick, and living up to the expectations, having the Lakers win the championship in his rookie season, those things matter. He won championships in literally 3 decades, right? Like 79, 80, if you want to call that, 80s, the early 90s. This is a guy that played in 9 finals. He won 3 MVPs as a traditional natural point guard. That's not common. It isn't. So all of these things, all of these accolades, and let's even think about this as well.
10 seconds left, Barry.
He had to retire early, and the assist record would be a lot higher if he didn't have to retire early as well. So there's a lot of things with Magic that, he's the best. He's the best.
That's interesting too, and I talked about that yesterday about how we talk about they changed the game, but from an off-court standpoint, from a business standpoint, yeah, you're exactly right. Magic and Bird, the finals were on tape delay in the 70s. The NBA was irrelevant in the 70s, and Magic Johnson, that rivalry with Celtics, Lakers, Magic, Bird, certainly brought it back in that regard. Both of you, while you had different answers, I thought made incredible points. Even though I actually agree with Barry in terms of Magic being the best, I do think it's a lot. I do agree with Devin in the sense I think it's a lot closer than people give it credit for because again, Steph literally changed how a sport is played.
And there's no shade to Steph. It's just, what I mean? Like, there's no shade either.
Okay, so this that you see, you guys made it really tough on me. But you know what? With great power comes great responsibility.
That's right.
I have decided, with it all said and done, the winner of the 8 o'clock spot in episode 3 is Barry Grant Jr. coming back to win once again. If we can get the victory music playing for Barry. Oh no, not that one. Roll on. Here we go. Hang on. This is the victory music right here. Wait a minute. Where is it? Oh my goodness.
Did you lose my music? Okay, there you go. There you go.
Your thoughts, Barrington?
I felt horrible for 2 weeks, right? Because, Alfred won, and then we were off last week, and I'm just like, I had to sit on that loss for 2 weeks. I'm like, you know what? I got to come back strong. I got to come back. I got to make sure people realize that the wrench is here, and I aim to win every time, although I don't care.
Stop it.
But
You're tripping. That's crazy.
Right? But Devin, I appreciate you, man. You brought the heat today. You are a great competitor. We've had some nice debates here on the 8 o'clock spot. You're the man, but you came up just a bit short today. That's all.
I feel like the character was just a little bit, gotta be a little bit more quicker. Well, it was cool though, it's all right. I'm gonna get my shine one day, and when I get my shine, best believe I will shine.
It's a long season.
That's
long season.